there you are. Greetings and felicitations to you all. My name's Chris Reardon. This is United Kingdom Talk, our 3 times a week talk show in audio, if you're listening on radio, or on video as well. And if you're watching the video, I do hope there is an improvement to the picture today. Now, it's the first time I've used this. I must tell you that, okay? But I have gone out and spent money. Da, da, da. As you know, I'm not one for always going out and spending money, but I have been for months and months considering purchasing a small but practical little video camera. A video camera, boys and girls. Now, for all time, the video side of the show has been recorded using various different webcams. Some of quite good quality, some not so good. Certainly the first ones were all a little bit blurry and that. More recently, I did purchase a very, very good one from Australia. But for some reason, the sound and the picture kept going out of synchronisation. It's very hard. And you know what? For months I've been thinking about buying a proper little video camera, and I have done so at last. Was it a camcorder? Why are they called camcorders now? Why are they not called video cam? It's a video camera, isn't it? It's so small, I can't believe it. Of course, I can't show it to you as I'm using it today. This is the first show I'm doing using the brand new video camera. Oh, it's marvellous. You want to see the booklet? Well, I say the booklet. I'll show you a little picture. I've got the box here, right? Okay. It is, if you want to look it up, because I know we've got technical people, they all like to do things and whatever. It's a Canon Legria FS200, right? Hang on a minute, there we are. A Canon, let me get my book, let me get my bits of paper. The Canon, where is it now? Legria FS200. There it is. Brand new. Marvellous. Oh, at last, my television production studios have gone into full swing, boys and girls. They really have. So I'm very pleased about this, really. I spent quite a long time choosing one because I wanted one specifically with a line-in input. Now, I have been unable to locate such a thing except where they're over like £1,500, which is I really didn't want to spend that on a piece of equipment. So this one cost me £280. All right, this particular one I'm using now. It's got widescreen, varying different levels of quality, and all other bits and pieces on it. But I wanted one with the line input. Couldn't find that, so this has got a microphone input. Although, at the moment, I'm not using that facility because I don't have an adapter. Now, technical people will understand. I have a mixer next to me here, right? And I have an output, but it's a line output. So I need an adapter to make the line input work with my mic input on the video camera. I don't have that as yet. I shall be ordering one. I think I've found, they're very, very hard to come by. Very, very hard to come by. I found one by Shaw, so I'll be ordering one of those. No doubt I won't have the cables when that arrives, so I've got to play about a bit with cables until I get it sorted, and then my sound will come straight off the mixer direct into the video camera. Now, the way I'm doing it at the moment is to record just the picture on the video camera and the audio straight onto the computer, and then after I finish the show, I will pull them both into the computer and match and synchronise them up manually, and hopefully that will work a lot better than it has done in the past. So I'm quite pleased about that. Spent a bit of time trying to find one. First of all, I went into Currys.digital. Can never understand why they changed the name from Dixon's. Can you? I went into Currys.digital in Bracknell Town Centre. No, tell a lie. First of all, I went to Jessop's. You remember where I had that bad customer services last time? Well, I thought I'll go back in there and I'll get another member of staff. And I think the guy I spoke to was wasn't in there from last time. So I went to this lad who looked a bit, he looked quite helpful and very friendly, and he had a blonde bit in his hair like a skunk. What is it with that fashion, lads? I keep seeing lads walking around with blonde, like a blonde bit down the middle of their hair. And you do look like a skunk, I'm afraid. It looks dreadful. So I chatted to him for a little while, told him what I wanted, and eventually he referred me to the Sony website. He said, have a look on there, Sylvia, because we don't know which ones have got mic ins. Oh, and I thought that's pretty useless, that, but there you go, that was the way it was, so off I went. I then popped into Dixon's, and it's a shame, really. Not Dixon's, Currys.digital. I went straight over to whoever was on the counter, which was actually a young lad who was about 20. I said, I'm looking for a video camera, must have a line or mic in, must work with Windows Movie Maker. Oh, yeah, most of them all do that. I said, oh, right. Now, I already knew that most video cameras actually do not have line. Well, I haven't found any reasonably priced ones that have a line in. I do know there are a few, but they're very few and far between now with mic in sockets, so you can plug an external microphone in, you see. Now, I don't know why they stopped doing this, because I seem to remember years ago when video cameras first came out, they all had little sockets for an external microphone. Now, you can't find them anywhere. So I said, OK, then. You know, I ignored that comment. I wasn't going to say to him, actually, you're wrong. I know. No, let him get on with it. Let the lad learn. Chris is here to teach them. So I said, oh, can I have, what about that one there? Has that got those on it? So I picked it up, started looking. Oh, no, this one hasn't got that on there. Oh, OK, then, mate. What about the one next to it? I knew what he was going to say. And so he looked at that one. No, nothing on there. And then, OK, next to that, mate. Picked up this one. Oh. He says, looks like I might have been misinformed. None of these seem to have the mics on. I said, oh, is that a normal thing? He said, no, I thought they all had mics on. So clearly, the boy hadn't been trained. This is the boy at Currys.digital. Or trained properly. Now, I don't suppose for one moment that people in these shops know everything about everything. But it did seem a normal thing to ask that. And surely you would know, if you sold video cameras all the time, and he was coming off the camera counter, if you sold them all the time, surely you would know that. The fact that actually very few of them have mic ins and virtually none of them have line ins. So that was that. So, OK, but he was friendly enough. He was a really friendly, helpful young person, so I stuck with it. So I said, I said, do any of them? He said, look, he says, have you got long? I said, no, I'll hang around. He said, look, I'll look at a few more, and he picked up a few more, and eventually he picked up one of the Canon ones. He went straight to the very expensive ones, because I did say to him, maybe the higher end ones have got this. Once again, he was picking up the Sony and the Sanyo and all, nothing. Then he picked up a Canon one, which wasn't this model. It was a high definition one. And this one was expensive. Oh, this was about £700. And he looks around and he said, mic in. And he showed me, yes, sure enough, there was a mic in on that one. So I said, oh, right, OK. I said, have you got any other Canons? That's a little bit more than I wanted to spend, actually twice as much as I wanted to spend. So he looks at the other ones, and do you know what? All the Canon ones that he had line in. Now, the cheapest one he had there was 420. That was it, £420. So I'm looking at this. And I said, would there be anything outside? So he said, do you want to play with it? I said, yes, OK. So he gave me the camcorder and he plugged it in and everything, and he was playing away. So I'm pushing buttons. I said, yeah, it's not a bad, quite a nice thing. A little bit more than I wanted to pay, but nevertheless, can I have a look at the instruction book? So he starts looking around. Going, he says, I can't find that. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go out the back and see if I can find it. I'll leave that with you for now. And then he's about to walk off. I said, hang on a minute, mate, you better take this back. And he says, what? I said, put the camcorder back on the shelf. I said, one of the older ones will have it, because he was clearly a Saturday boy. So I said, one of the older ones will have a go at you for leaving me with that, because I could just walk out with this. He said, oh, I never thought of that. Oh, dear me. Should have kept my mouth shut. No, do you know what I mean? But I do look out for younger people. I really do. I love it. I love it. Must be the dad thing, the dad thing. So that's it. So he went out the back, and he came back a few minutes later with a booklet, and he said, there you go. So I started flicking through the booklet. I said, yeah, this seems what I want. Would I need anything else with it? He said, yes, you'll need a card. Now, what was it called? An SD card. That is like, kind of like a film, okay? So you make your video. I'm explaining this for Joy and Acton, because Joy needs to know the untechnical details. It's an SD card, Joy. You don't know what an SD card is, do you, Joy? No, I thought not, dear. But you know what a film is, don't you? Well, the SD card, it's like a film. All it is the tiniest little thing. It's about half an inch square, if that, probably about a quarter of an inch square, and it slots into the bottom of the camera, and that's what you record the program on. How clever is that? They didn't have those when we were young, did they, dear? Certainly not. So we did that. And flick through so I'd need a card. How much is the card? It depends what size you want. I said, what's the biggest one? I said, well, we've got an 8 gigabyte one, which again is the size of the, it's the amount of film that you could put onto a card, Joy. So if I bought a 2 gig one, I wouldn't be able to put as much as I could put an 8 gig one. It's like having a film that takes either 12 photographs or 36, all right? So I wanted the one that does 36. So I said, the big one then. He said, how much are they? £40. So this took it to about £420 altogether, which was way, way more than I wanted to spend. I said, okay. I said, I really don't want to spend that amount. What can you do for me? He said, well, I can knock a little bit off the card for you, which is £40. All I can do is knock £4 off. I said, £4, dear? I said, I'll tell you what. I said, give me the camera and the card. I only wanted to spend a couple of hundred. I said, but if you give me the camera and the card for £400, you've got a deal. Oh, he says, no, I'm not allowed to do that. I said, well, do you want to ask the manager? He said, no, he'll say the same thing, I promise you. He said, I can't go down that far. The most I can go down, I can take a £5 off. So I said, oh, well. I said, I'm sorry, mate, you wasted your time then. I said, we can't do a deal for that. I expected you to do better than that. Okay, yeah. He said, well, sorry, we couldn't do business. I said, fair enough. So I upped and went. I did half expect him to call me back, to be honest, because you keep seeing in newspapers and that, experts and what have, shopping experts, telling you to try and get a deal whenever you go somewhere. Wherever you go, shops are bending over backwards at the moment to sell things. But, for someone who was about to spend £420 and to be given a £5 off, quite honestly, is a bit of an insult. He did offer me a better deal on one of those extended guarantee ones, but I never buy them. I'm sorry, I just don't buy them. You could spend hundreds of pounds a year on extended warranties, can't you, lovies? You can, dear. Don't buy them. Okay, yeah, I know. Sometimes something's going to go wrong, I know. But when you think about it, I don't know, maybe you're someone who buys these extended warranties. Now, if you kept buying, you'd have one for the cooker, one for the fridge, one for the freezer, one for the video player, one for the DVD, one for your television, or maybe you've got a couple of televisions. Well, that's 7. Maybe you've got one for the computer, one for the printer. That's 9 extended guarantees. Now, listen, do you really think all 9 of those items are going to go wrong? No, it's very unlikely, isn't it? Come on, be honest. All right, maybe 1 might go wrong, maybe 2 if you're very unlucky. But by the time you've worked out how much you've spent on 9 extended warranties. Another one, perhaps for the microwave, that's 10. What else can we have? Hi-fi system, 11. Okay, so say let's say you've in your house with the various things that you've got, washing machine, there's another one, tumble dryer. Okay, let's say 15 extended warranty items in your house, right? How many things have got to go wrong for you to get back the money? Not on one item, but all 15. Think about it. So you've got 15 extended warranties. If one item goes wrong, just one, you're not going to get that money back, are you? And that's the sort of opinion I take. The more items you've got in your house that might be for extended warranties, the more money it's costing you. And for all of them to go, it's just not going to happen. So I never buy these extended warranties. They make a lot of money out of those. They really do. He was going to do some sort of deal on that. I said, no, I'm not interested in extended warranty, mate. I just want to save money on that £420. If you give those 2 items to me to 400, I'll walk out with them and give you the money here and now. Oh, I can't do that, sir. So I said, no, thank you. He didn't call me back. That surprised me, that did. I really thought he'd call me back or someone else would have called me back in to make that sale, but there you go. However, armed now with that knowledge that very helpful young lad had given, he must have been a bit fed up not to have made the sale there. But he should have, what can you do? What can you do? I expected a better deal, so that's it. I walked out, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to walk out. Otherwise, you spend too much money. So armed with that knowledge that it appears Canon camcorders have this specific microphone input socket, I went back to Jessop's. Went up there, I said, hello, mate. The boy that was serving me had now gone, and there was an older man who I assumed to be the manager. Very, very pleasant. Hello, sir, how can I help you? One of the old school. A bit like me, old school, I know customer service. If I had a shop, I would damn well make sure that my customers were always happy. So I said, yeah, I was in a little while ago. He said, oh, yes, I remember one of the lads was serving. I said, yeah, we weren't sure what has microphone inputs. So I said to him, I've just been over into Dixon's, and it appears that the Canon ones have. I noticed you've got 2 in your display there. That's right. He said, I'll get them out and have a look. Straight over to the shelves he was with his open this drawer thing with his key, or the glass shelving unit thing. And he bought the 2 cameras out. I said, and he started looking at them. He obviously didn't know. I said, I do believe they're concealed in some sort of little plastic thing. He said, oh, look. And he opened this thing and bang, microphone input. I said, well, that's got it. I said, what about the other one? And he, bang, microphone input. Fantastic. I said, that's what I want. That's exactly what I want. Now, do you know if they work with Windows Movie Maker? And he said, yes, I'm pretty sure they do, but I can't give you 100%. I said, fair enough. We'll have one of those then. And I've walked out with one of those. How much was it? Not 380, 200 and... Oh, hang on a minute. I've got... How much was it now? Just a minute. I think it was... let me think. 240. Hey, 240. That's not bad, is it, eh? 240. Now, the one in the other shop was 380, so I was over the moon. Over the moon with that. So there we are. I now have my Canon Legria FS 200 video camera, which I'm using for the first time to record the show today. Now, it may not be that good today, I don't know, because different cameras require different lighting. I don't know. I think I'm looking a bit dark on one side, but that's probably the position of the camera, because it's actually quite dark outside as well. And I've only got one light above me. The next thing I want to do is put a few lights in here that shine direct over in this direction. So that will improve things as well. All right. Always try and improve yourself, boys and girls. So I got the thing home. And it had two booklets, a quick start book and a large, thicker, proper manual. So I started reading the manual, and there's so much in there to read, and I've quickly put that down and started reading the quick start, and I managed to get it going, did a little film. I can't remember what I did now. Filmed something and played it back, and that was all well and hunky-dory. Then I brought the camera up to the Mirrorball Studios, where this programme's being created, as always. Plugged it into the computer, had to run a bit of software. I was able to drag and drop the little film that I made straight into the computer, and hey presto, into Windows Movie Maker, which I used to edit the show, and bang, everything worked fine. I'm so pleased. Very, very pleased, and I think that's money well spent. When I buy something, I want it to be value for money, and I want to know that I'm going to use it. I can't understand these people who buy gadgets and they don't blooming well use them. It's just such a terrible, terrible waste. And you spend a little bit of money, a little bit more perhaps than you intended to right from the outset, and you should, if you look after it, have a gadget that works for years and years and will service you as much as you want, really. And that's it, really. So I'm very pleased. £240 for that. Yeah, that's value. Value. All that technology in there, you see? I've said before, when you buy a part for a car, like a plastic bumper or something, and they want £200, that's just shocking. It's a bit of plastic, for God's sake. But here, there's all this technology and that little... Because they're not very big, are they, camcorders now? Do you remember the old ones? Great big things you used to put on your shoulder, weren't they? And I remember the ones that you would actually load into a proper size VHS cassette. And these things were massive, weren't they? You had them on your shoulder. God knows. Probably that's why you notice some elderly people are leaning over to one side, aren't they? They're the ones that used to have those large video cameras. And they've got crooks in their neck now. Anyway, so I played about with that up here. And then, you won't believe this, I started looking around for the thick instruction book. And I couldn't find it. I thought, well, I must have bought it up here. So I'm looking around everywhere. I thought it might have fallen down the back, or I couldn't find it anywhere. I went down to the living room. I thought maybe I left it down there while I was sitting on the settee trying to read it. Nope, not anywhere to be found. And to this day, I still cannot find that original instruction book, the thick one, the proper manual that came with it. How weird is that? It's disappeared. It has absolutely disappeared. Cannot find it anywhere. Very strange. So what I had to do, fortunately... Oh, I think I left it... Fortunately, it came with a CD, you see, of all the manual as well. So what I've done, because I can't stand reading instructions off a computer file. You just can't do it like that. So what I've done, I've had to print out the entire book, but of course it's printed on bigger paper than it. I mean, the little book that came was only like so big, about about as big as a cassette, really. About as big as a CD, really. That's how big the book was. But when you print it out on the printer, I mean, look at this lot. There's how many pages? There's at least a ream of paper here, I'm telling you that now. 118 pages worth of text here, dear. God's sake. Look at it. But that's all the information that I need to that I may or may not need if I get stuck. But I have to say, I'm not always good nowadays. I don't know why it is. It's got to be an age thing. But I'm not always that good at learning to operate things by reading the instructions. I'm no good at that. I'm better on a practical, or I used to be better on a practical thing. Certainly when I was younger, I'd pick something, you'd pick something up, a new piece of gear or whatever, and you'd play with it, right? And quite quickly, I was able to get the thing going. If not, I referred to the instruction book. Now, I do find, particularly mobile phones, very, very difficult to operate. There's too many functions, or they pack these functions in there, and no one can blooming well operate the things. We don't know what we're doing, do we? Huh? It's true. But this camera, made by Canon, I picked it up, played with it, and very quickly was able to get it going. So clearly quite very, very user-friendly. There is some stuff that just is not user-friendly. This is not one of them. Very, very pleased with that. It's got a little joystick, and it's great. So I'm really pleased about that, and as I say, hope it increases the quality of the show that those of you that watch at home. Okay, there's an email address to the show. Do feel free to join in. It's Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. James Dean, host of the Matinee Show, that's matineeshow.co.uk, matineeshow.co.uk, is coming for another visit. So he may well be with us on the next show, and he will be so jealous when he sees my new gadget. We love it. There's nothing better than a jealous James Dean, is there? Eh? So I'm looking forward to that. What else have I got to tell you? Oh, you know that mat? I told you I got a new, when the studio was decorated, I had a new carpet put down. And I had to get a plastic mat as well for the chair. But it was too small. Now, just a minute, let me get that, 1 minute. Ooh, it's quite heavy, this. I want to knock things over. I got this fold-up plastic mat thing, which is quite thick plastic, and it unfolds, and it's 4 times the size as that one. Oh, it's very heavy. Let me put this back. 1 minute. Just wanted to show you that, really. Right. But it was too small, and I found when I wheeled about the studio, it would fall off the edge of the mat, and of course then you're damaging the carpet again. So I ordered this other one online, which is much, much larger and covers the entire area that I wheel about. And I had a friend came round the other day, Simon his name is, and he, while he was round here, said, well, you couldn't give me a hand with this mat because I couldn't push it underneath the tables. You have to lift the legs of the tables up to get the mat underneath, and the computers and all that are under here, and the wires. So I said, can you give it a good push while I lift the tables? He said, sure enough. So I got under the tables and I lifted one with my back, and lifted the other one with my hand, and he gave it a good shove, and it went right under, so that was fine. So I thought, well, that'll be fine now. Unfortunately, no, it's not, because what was happening is that the mat, even though it's got the spikes on it, it's got spikes underneath to hold it, it's supposed to hold it into position on the mat, but it doesn't. The mat still moves, and gradually it's coming back. So once again, when I'm on the chair, I fall off the edge of the mat. So what I've done, and I don't know if this is the right thing to do or not, what I've done is got some nails, and just along the edge, I've put about 6 or 7 nails, and a couple on 2 on each side, hopefully to hold it into position. But it's not as easy as that, is it? Why isn't anything ever easy? Because one of the nails I put a little bit too close to the edge of the plastic mat, and of course it split the mat there, isn't it? It split the mat, and it wasn't cheap. This plastic mat was 85 quid. I don't mind spending if it's going to last, but... Oh, yeah, I know. Perhaps you're not supposed to put nails in plastic because it will split. But I didn't know what else to do, really. So what I've done now, I took that particular nail out and put a bit of gaffer tape, which is like very, very strong sellotape, underneath the mat. And then put the nail back through there. And hopefully that split won't get any worse. But I just hope the other nails don't split as well. Or the other bits of the mat don't split as well where I've put the nails in. Of course, if you're going to try that at home, children, do be careful. There are no pipes in your floorboards, because you know with the central heating, dear, you don't want to put a nail through that. Has anyone got any DIY disasters? Has anyone ever, who's listening to this programme now, or watching the show, has anyone ever put a nail through a copper pipe and been soaked with water? Have you? If you have, let me know. My email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. So there we are, new gadget. Oh, the Eurovision song. Oh, by the way, those of you who are wondering if I've been to the supermarket yet to make that recording of the lady on the self-service checkout, there is an undisclosed item in the bagging area. Please remove the item and try again. No, I still haven't been to the supermarket to do that. I will do it. Do not worry. Give me a chance. I try and move as quickly as possible. All right? Give me a chance to carry on with my life. Can't do everything at once. So that's that. The Eurovision Song Contest. Yes, I know it was over a week ago now. Oh, we didn't do too bad. Fifth out of... What is that? 25? Fifth out of 25. And I think that's fantastic. And those of you that saw the Eurovision Song Contest, what a lovely touch when Jade Ewing came on, and who was playing the piano? Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. I mean, that, to me, that just made the show for me. I mean, you don't expect someone like Andrew Lloyd Webber to come, you know, and play the piano for you. And I am such a fan of that bloke. He's a very gentle man, very, very artistic and clever. And I just think he's brilliant. I would love to meet Andrew Lloyd Webber. And he clearly cares for people. He worries what they think. And he worries about, let's face it, what have become his stars. People that he's plucked from obscurity and he's just fantastic, Andrew Lloyd Webber. And to see him sit there on the stage of the year, because no one knew that was happening. No one knew that was going to happen. To see him on the stage of the Eurovision Song Contest playing the piano for Jade Ewing. It's my time, my moment. I would sing it for you, but I can't remember. I'm not very good at learning words for songs. Do we have any singers watching or listening to the show? Have you got any tips about learning words to songs? Because I find that very difficult. When I'm singing a song to you, usually I'll have the camera in front of me here, and the words appear on the computer screen. At the moment it's just behind me, but if I'm doing a song, it would be right in front of me, and I'd be reading the words off that. So I do cheat a bit, really, don't I? Naughty old Chris. Cheating away again. Have you got any tips? How do you learn words to songs? Do you just keep singing them or what? Or do you have them playing in your ears like trying to hypnotise you while you're in bed asleep or something? Do let us know, Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. As the Eurovision goes, Norway won. I have a feeling people might have been sending out votes, possibly for looks. I mean, this boy won, and he is really very good looking. Very, very good looking lad won. Also, with a huge amount of talent. He plays the violin on the thing, and he sings. It was a good song. It was a good song. And right from the very, very beginning, they pulled it. There were 42 or 46 countries giving out votes. And right from the very beginning, they were pulling away from everyone big time. And indeed, after just 5 countries had voted, they were already had twice as many votes as anyone else. And this carried on, the gap just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think they ended up with 300 odd points, which is huge amount. It was a runaway success for Norway. Congratulations. Really do. Well done. It was a nice song. It was a nice song. Fairy Tales or something like that it was called. Now, what I'd really like to do, and I've never been to a Eurovision Song Contest before, and I would love to go next year. Hope possibly with Nikki French, because I did mention this to her, so I'm going to ring her up and say, okay, how do we get these tickets? What do we do? I mean, presumably, one would have to book a hotel like quite soon, because all the hotels would be getting booked up, would they? How does that work? I don't know how that works. So I'm going to have to ring Nikki French, and I would love to go to a Eurovision Song Contest. Anyone know how to get tickets? Do let us know. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. The whole show, of course, was staged in Moscow, in Russia. And, the production was unbelievable. Those Russians, they certainly know what they're doing. It was fantastic. The whole set. I've never seen so many LCD screens in all my life in one venue. And they had this big, circular, big lot of screens around the top, which moved up and down. You've never seen anything like it. Now, if you're in the States or somewhere where you didn't see the Eurovision Song Contest, it is now available, or will shortly be, I think it's out already, on DVD. I highly recommend, if you like music, I highly recommend, and you like to see big productions with lots of lights and this, that and the other, I highly recommend that you purchase the said DVD, okay? You're looking for the Eurovision Song Contest from Moscow 2009. If you can't find it in your country, try HMV or play.com or something like that. Okay, I don't know. Perhaps, I know Tower Records, I think you have in the States. I'm sure they will be able to order it for you. Highly recommend that if you like popular music, all right? But please buy it, because I want you to see the production of that. It's just fantastic. And there's a bit where they finish all the song entries between that and the voting starting. They have a little act that go on. And it was amazing. Part of the act was actually above the audience on what appeared to be some sort of very strong, plastic see-through pool of water. It was amazing. Amazing. It's a bit like, what's that? Cling film. You know cling film, right? It was a bit like a very, very strong piece of cling film above the audience, right? It had some water in it. It wasn't like a pool, but it had water in it. And people were throwing themselves into this water and swimming and all sorts of things above people's heads. And this plastic was like going down like that as people were jumping into it. I thought, oh my God, any minute now someone is going to fall through that. I would have been terrified if I'd been underneath that. But just such a great effect. And well done to Moscow and the Russians for putting on such a fantastic, best ever television production. Absolutely out of this world. This show cost millions, but you could see where it went. The only criticism I've got, and the presenters were very good as well. Well, actually, they had two sets of presenters. They had presenters that presented the semi-finals on the Tuesday and the Thursday, and they had a different pair of presenters that presented the final on the Saturday. And the Saturday presenters were a lot better than the other two. But the only criticism I've got is that, once again, the orchestra was not in view. And it has been, this is not specific to the Moscow people, but it has been like that now for many, many years. You used to have the orchestra on the side of the stage, and you would see them all playing their instruments, and each country would have a conductor. And to me, that was all part of it. And it's been, for me, a very big gap ever since they stopped using the orchestra on the stage. I don't know why they do it now. It's all backing tapes, I suppose, and all that, which is a shame. But I really would like to see the orchestra back on the stage again. Will we ever see it? I don't know. It would be nice, though. We have a show at the moment, John Barrowman, what's it called now? Tonight's the Night. We've got that on the telly at the moment, and he always has a small orchestra on the side of the stage, and it does make such a difference if you see all that. So well done to the Russians, okay? If you haven't seen that show, do please order it on DVD. And the songs are not half bad either. There's a lot of very good songs on there. You get a lot of music for your money, okay? I shall indeed be ordering that DVD as soon as I finish the show today. So there we are. Right, email time, boys and girls. Here we go then. First of all, it's Suko, who sent this a couple of weeks ago. I know, Suko, I'm sorry, darling. We're just getting so behind with everything now. If I could just shut up and do... Because I haven't done an email catch-up programme now for ages, have I? Huh? I haven't. I really need to do perhaps 2 of those, and when we can clear them again. But don't let that put you off sending emails in. Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk is my email address, all right? And Suko writes, "Hi, Chris. You wanted to know more about Hershey Park, where Jade danced last week on their opening day." Yeah, because she mentioned Hershey Park. Jade danced a few weeks ago on their opening day. She says, "It's a theme amusement park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, located close to the Hershey Chocolate Factory." Now, I know about Hershey Chocolate. Hershey is one of the oldest and biggest candy companies here in the US. I'm just crossing my legs and relaxing a little bit with you. Is that all right? You don't mind? Shall we relax together? The park has over 60 rides, including 11 roller coasters. No, thank you very much. We don't do roller coasters, which Jade and her friends love, so that after their performance, they had a blast on the rides. Right outside the park is Chocolate World, which has a free ride that shows you the Hershey chocolate making process. Yeah, we have a similar thing here in the UK. Cadbury's, their factory. You can go round for trips around that, I do know. Suko says, the 2 begins in a tropical rainforest. Oh, I'd love to live there in a tropical rainforest where cacao beans grow, takes you through the process of turning the beans into chocolate, and ends in the Hershey Chocolate Factory in Pennsylvania. At the end of the ride, you're given a teeny tiny Hershey chocolate bar, and you come out in a huge candy store which sells all things Hershey at tourist prices. Cheaper to buy in Stop and Shop. Yeah, but that's she says, "Oh, but the smell was gorgeous." Yeah, you find that though, Suga. It's like, you know, when you go to Disney. If you go to Disney, the stuff that they sell within the Disney park is horrendously expensive for what it is. You know, and you can buy most of this stuff outside of Disney in various shops. But it's not the same, is it? It's just not the same as saying, "I bought this from Disney." And I'm the same myself. When I'm in Disney, I usually end up in the shop. Oh, that's nice. And I tell you what I do like in the Disney shops, the beautiful glass sculptures they've got. Little little figurines of Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse and Donald Duck and all that. And if you really want to spend some money, they do have a Cinderella's castle, which costs an awful lot, a lot of dollars or pounds or euros if you're at the French one. It's really expensive, but beautiful piece of glasswork. Has anyone seen that? The Snow White, is it the Snow White or the Cinderella castle? Oh, hang on a minute, I'm not sure. I always get confused with those two. Oh, well, it's the castle, the famous one with the big blue things that like spire type things coming out of the castle, and it's all made of glass. Beautiful. Look lovely on my shelf if anyone wants to get me that for Christmas. You'll have to bring it over though. Don't post that, for God's sake, it'll all get broken. On May the 8th, Jade was playing with her school orchestra. She plays violin. That was at the opening day for Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. An even bigger amusement park with 12 of some of the scariest roller coasters you've ever seen. And, well, that is exactly what I would do, Suko. I would see them. I would watch them. I am not getting on roller coasters. How many times do I have to tell you, my love? She just called and said she went to El Toro, which was so scary she couldn't even scream. Oh, my God. No, I don't like the sound of it. And she said, "You got to go, Mum. Love you. Going back on El Toro." These people are mad, dear. What is wrong with El Toro? They're all mad, these people that go on roller coasters. Thankfully, I didn't have to go and endure another day of watching others enjoying themselves on rides that I have no stomach for. I don't blame you, Suko. What is it with these people that they want to be scared out of their wits, dear? Huh? If you want to be scared, go on one of those Russian planes. That's scary. They keep crashing, don't they? Oh, dear. Six Flags Great Adventure is known for their award-winning roller coasters. Theme Park magazine recently voted El Toro as the #2 top wooden roller coaster. I always think they look quite nice, they do, don't they? You know, the wooden roller coasters, beautiful pieces of art. Featuring the steepest drop of any wooden roller coaster in the country at a record-breaking 76 degrees. Oh, rather you than me. Nitro was named the #7 top steel roller coaster, blasting you at an unbelievable 230 feet in the air with a 215-foot dive back to Earth at speeds approaching 80 miles an hour. No, thank you. Suko says, not for me either. She also says her husband Jerry loves the scary rides as much as Jade. A couple of years ago, as soon as Jade reached for the height that enabled her to go on all the rides, because if you're not very high, if you're not very tall, you can't go on all the rides. The same is in Disney. We flew to Ohio once you got tall enough to spend a week at Cedar Point Park, where there are 17 roller coasters. I did a lot of reading that week, because Suko she doesn't like the rides either. We don't like these. What is it all about? Wanting to be scared out your wits. All you've got to do if you want that, if you want to be scared out your wits, all you've got to do is meet James Dean, presenter of matineeshow.co.uk, and just simply by looking at his face, you will be scared to death. Absolutely scared to death. Suko writes, how did I miss the organic herbal tea contest? Because you fell behind, Suko. You're falling more behind with my shows than I am with the emails, dear. You missed it. You missed your opportunity to win a little prize, darling. And, you shouldn't do that. Because that prize could have been more than a little bag of teas and a few mugs. How do you know that on the next show I'm not about to give away a luxury cruise to Australia? You don't know. You see, you've got to watch them all. You can't miss it. It's like books. You miss out a chapter, that's it, innit? Sorry, Suko, I'm not having a go, lovey. I'm not having a go, dear. It's just one of those things. She says, as I often do, I must have fallen asleep listening to that particular United Kingdom talk show. Beg pardon? What do you mean, as you often do? I fall asleep listening to that particular United Kingdom talk show? Beg pardon? What a liberty that is, dear. What a cheek. Falling asleep? I hope there's no one else listening to me in bed about to nod off. Wake up! Don't fall asleep. I'll make you laugh. I'll come and tickle you. I bet there is, isn't there? There's people in bed at the moment listening. What a place to listen. I hope you've got pyjamas on. I don't want to be naked in bed with you. This is a family programme, I've told you. Put some clothes on immediately. Falling asleep. Who else is falling asleep while they're listening? Got Terry up in Leeds. He falls asleep as well while he's listening. There's an email from him somewhere. We might not get to it. We'll see. She said, if I hadn't fallen asleep, I definitely would have entered. Not for the tea, but for the mug. Tell me, it wasn't a mug with a picture of you on it, was it? Because I've wanted one of those for the longest time. Yes, it was, Suko. It was a picture of a mug. It was a mug with a picture of me and a Union Jack on it. It were my old Bingay mugs that I don't need anymore. And you missed out on one because you were too busy doing something else. You were too busy. You've missed out, Suko. Oh, Suko. All right. Send me your address. I'll get one in the post to you, all right? Because I love you. Me love you long time. I thought I'd sent you one of those, hadn't I? Haven't I sent you one? Are you collecting a set? They better not appear on eBay. You're not selling mugs of me on eBay, are you? What a cheek. How much are they going for? Huh? She says, oh, the thought of the flowery, slightly bitter taste of rich English breakfast tea touching my lips and flowing like gentle waters down my alabaster throat from a porcelain cup with a photograph of the master of merriment, Chris Reardon, on the front. Be careful where you put your lips, Suko, round that cup. Stop it. How unfortunate I missed out. This could set me back quite a bit. Well, you know, there you are. You know, if you're too busy doing other things to enter into my competition or even know that they're actually happening, what can I do? I can't wind the clock back to a few weeks ago when we had the competition. Can't do that. It's not fair to everyone else. Send me your address, Suko, all right? I'll put one in the post for you. Look how kind I am. I'm still over the moon with this new camera. I hope it works. I've no idea what this is going to look like today. First time I've used it. Technical things. She says, and I think I would have been worthy for it. Don't get me wrong. What do you mean you would have been worthy for it? That's very self-conceited, dear. Think I would have been worth me. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Me. I'm glad I'm not like that. I'm not. God. Actually, funny you should say that. There was this bloke I saw for a very short period of time, about a year ago. Year and a half ago, maybe, right? Only lasted about 3 dates. And suddenly the phone calls, I made a couple of phone calls to him, but there was nothing coming. I thought, oh, well, move on. He came in the pub the other day. I said, why did you stop calling? And do you know what he said? I don't know if I can even tell you this. He said, it was all about you. I said, what do you mean? He said, it was just all about you and not about me. And I thought, I don't know what he meant by that. Do you? What would someone mean by that? It's all about you. I don't get it. She says, don't get me wrong, I'm happy for Jasper. That's the elf that won the cup. But have you heard that we in the United States are in a recession? Well, it's your own fault, isn't it, for borrowing all that money, dear? You should have done as my dad taught me. You don't spend what you don't have. Stop borrowing money. Yes, I know Iceland is in dire straits financially, but those Icelanders, or whatever they're called, are used to... Yes, they're Icelanders. I think they're Icelanders. Where are we? Those Icelanders are used to getting along in life with much less than us Americans. Well, we know that, dear. They don't have triple-ply, extra-soft quilted toilet paper in Iceland. They have to use bits of newspaper. No wonder their drains are in such problems, always getting blocked up. You know, oh, I remember that. Do you know, I've just had thoughts now of being in scout camp years ago, and the toilet paper was bits of newspaper left on the floor and tore up into bits. Oh! How on earth did that used to flash away? Oh, it's so sharp on one's bottom, isn't it? Awful. She says, admittedly, they're a harder stock, and believe me, I admire their physical and mental fortitude, but listen to my plight. Would you believe I only own 2 Coach bags, well, 2 1/4 if you can't count the wristlet, and lately I've only been able to see 3 or 4 Broadway shows a month at $120 a ticket. It's a lot of money. It's become a hardship to see any more than that. I've cut the maid down to every other day. She's got a maid. She's got a blooming maid, dear. Here she is, pleading poverty. She's cut the maid down to every other day. And we've had to let Percy, our chauffeur, go. I've got a chauffeur. Or they had one. Of course, I feel for poor Percy and his wife and 8 children, who ironically originally from Iceland, but a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. Sincerely, a very disappointed Suko. Well, Suko, sincerely, a very disappointed Chris Reardon, as you managed to miss so many shows, dear. You swan off onto other people's shows. What can you expect, dear? Right, Ian via Facebook. I picked this up the other day. I was going through some old Facebook. Please, if you're going to contact the show, please use the email address rather than Facebook or anything else, because they get lost any other method. But emails always get here. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is that email address. Ian says, on the subject of when you wore pyjamas on your show a couple of weeks ago, I always wondered what happened to Andy Pandy. Andy Pandy is an old children's show. A lovely song, of which I remember. Andy Pandy comes to play, la 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 la. Andy Pandy comes to play, la 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 la. Andy Pandy, dear me. Right, we're nearly out of time on the show today. Coming up in the next show, I think we will have to have an email catch-up show. We've got emails from Toby, one from CW in Australia. Pat, who used to come to Bingay. Have we got time for? I think we just got time for one more, a quick one. Carl, Terry H. There we are, Terry. Who hasn't? I spoke to her ages. Terry H. Lisa. Who's this? TPM Tom, another one from Tom Harris. Wayne, there's a lot of emails waiting to be read out, which I'll do at the beginning of the next show. Okay. Finally, a quick one here from Stuart. Hello, Stuart, who clearly has become a very, very loyal listener and friend. He writes, "Hi Chris, listening to your latest show on my holidays in the USA in Boston, but I will catch up on a few I've missed." Oh, Stuart. You're what is called a loyal listener, something that Suko once was. Thank you very much for listening and watching the show today. I hope you haven't fallen asleep in your beds. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Bye-bye.